got you on sight. Well, hello, that life. Come and pick a fight. Already night. Got you on sight. You better get ready, cause I don't go light. Come to a venom, they're ready for your bite. I'm seeing more doors, I'm waiting on. Full throttle, baby, you know I'm that loco. I got that swing, baby, under la rosa. Talk about that hit, bro, you know I got that fire. Let's get it, make a move, make a move, make a move, make a move. Get it done, get it done. Don't stop, won't stop, let's get it, boy.
Yang banyak trofi bulan kembang transformasi karis pagi makan pagi hati-hati anxiety aku best no we ain't gonna rest let's do it again common sense run sabrat because the cause of story stand up criminology book dehumanize calculate my blessing never ending mind I'm a west stars click on the credits
hello there life come and pick a fight war ready night got you on sight you better get ready cause I don't go light numb to a venom on it ready for your bite see I'm outdoors I don't wait now full frontal baby you know I'm the loco I got that swing baby and Real Rosa talk about the hip break you know I got that fire make a move make a move make a move make a move get it done don't stop won't stop let's get
banyak kali gagal aku kira tak cukupnya dua tangan sampai mana aku mau tiada setengah jalan hasil tupas bakal tidak bakal yang tak hasil aku yang terbaik tiada siapa boleh sangka tak perlu gali sebab masa aku master rupa sasar aku pasti aku tak terkandas malam sampai pagi cara rasa selesa hidup cuma sekali tiada masa
well hello there life come and pick a fight war ready night got you on sight you better get ready cause I don't go light numb to a venom on it ready for your bite see I'm outdoors I don't wait now full frontal baby you know I'm the loco I got that swing baby and Real Rosa talk about the hip break you know I got that fire make a move make a move make a move make a move get it done get it done don't stop won't stop let's get it boy
First you gotta make a move macam move forward lah set your mindset right jangan tanya forward lah macam dulu mula-mula macam dulu muda-muda tak susah senang cari tapi bukan macam muda but this time no stress serious way no time to play kerja keras way tak tinggal pray hasil till one day hasil kau they pay
run always keep up with that transition live a good life it's in fashion I'ma make my goals your ambition competition si dapat pun kau seorang tak banking life ke dapat pasukan kau take captain berapa hal kau pun control expectation dah maju paduli pun kau more action
well hello that life come and pick a fight already night got you on sight you better get ready cause I don't go light come to a venom they're ready for your bite I'm seeing more doors I'm waiting on full throttle baby you know I'm that loco I got that swing baby under la rosa talk about that hit but you know I got that fire let's get it make a move make a move make a move make a move get it done get it done don't stop won't stop let's get it boy
both my parents are Sarawakians. My parents used to be in the music industry for as long as I know. My father has moved back to Sarawak doing family business, and my mother is still sort of doing music and fashion as well. And I think that I was born into music. I feel that it was very natural for me to just get into it because of my parents, and they've been very supportive. He was very, very, very strict on me when I was younger, but then right now my dad, he lets me do what I want, and he's very supportive as long as I'm happy and as long as I can eat and I have a place to live, and he's good. And my mother, she is my backbone when it comes to music and when it comes to the arts. She's very, very well versed in music and the creative side of things. Everyone else in my family, my brothers and sisters, none of them are in music. None of them. I started from seeing how things work behind the scenes. They were managing a few artists in Malaysia at that time, and my fondest memory of my first encounter of music or the big stage was the Ikhlas concert. They were working backstage, and I was just seeing the hustle and bustle of everything. And I think following them to work, also seeing how the creative process of producing a song or producing a concert itself, the excitement of things really made me feel that it was natural to me. It was not, I didn't know anything else at that time but music. I thought it was something everyone did. I thought it was a part of everyone's lives. And how I started writing is because I cannot sing a single note to save my life. But I loved writing. I love writing in my diaries. I love writing stories for my friends, love letters and whatnot. And I love music, but I can't sing. So when I was about 11 or 12, I was exposed to a hip-hop group called Wu-Tang. And I bought my first cassette, which was a Tupac cassette. And I realized that there is poetry in music and you could rap. So that's how I was exposed to music. There's not a single genre that I've been focusing on, and I've been doing a lot of electronic stuff. I do hip hop, I do a lot of stuff. And now I'm trying to explore, because of, I think, again, me evolving, I've gotten a bit more matured in terms of the way I think, the way I see the world, the way I like to express myself. So now, if people out there are following my music, I think they will see it this year how I will change, or I have changed.
Arabyrd.
Styles, new trends, get organized, new mix, new blend, no we not compromise. Never. Take note, carry the day and I make nice. Them can't stop the works, cause them on my size. Them no big like me, them no bad like the ride. We not watch face and we not take side, cause we don't walk the road and we don't ride it tight. When all said and done, none of the strong survive. So we not run, better know so we not hide. We can't done, better know so we not lie. Sit up on the rhythm and me chat it in time. You know me have to make it check the hustle and grind. Worldwide, this a global thing, make we link up all of me queens and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring. Dance all night when me ride the rhythm, man. Worldwide is a global thing, make we link up all of me queens and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring. Dance all night when me ride the rhythm.
Papolah kau siap, seolah kau ingat. Di asa kena tinggal penyuruh kau sial. Papolah kau siap, seolah kau ingat. Di asa kena tinggal penyuruh kau sial. Coming like a light in the dark, my wings spin big, no doubt. Got the world corrupt when my feathers go off with the heads, Go off, stay sharp with a blunt. Dirty wine, daddy coochie's up a Kingston. I'ma fuck with the world, that's the game plan. Run things like I never sleep. Living dreams lay up in the trees. Don't get too close, you will get roast, you will get toasted.
Worldwide is a global thing, make we link up all of me queens and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring. Dance all night when me ride the rhythm, man. Worldwide is a global thing, make we link up all of me queens and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring. Dance all night when me ride the rhythm.
Worldwide is a global thing.
Global.
All of me kings and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring.
Respect you.
Yeah, we hide the rhythm. Worldwide is a
See
global
larger.
thing. Make we link up all of me kings and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring.
Arabyrd.
Worldwide is a global thing. Make we link up all of my kings and kings. Sing some pure good vibes we a bring.
Rider Shafiq. Good vibes.
I don't don't have an interesting story about the name, to be honest, but it happened when I was still working, doing advertising at that time, and an event organizer from Singapore, which was my first ever solo performance, and it was my first ever festival, and it was in Singapore. And he called, he said, listen, we're putting together the flyers for the event right now. Are you sure you want to just use Arafah? I'm like, that, when someone calls you Arafah, then maybe there's no zing to it. And I had a colleague of mine who sat right across me, and every time he just looked across, right above his computer, and like, Birdie, Birdie, Birdie. And he was doing exactly that when I was on the phone. So I'm like, can we just use Arabyrd? And how it turned into a why was that I got another call from the organizer again. He said, hey, is it okay we use why? Why? I said, how come? Oh, because the font looks nicer. So that is just the story of Arabyrd. There's nothing, but after that, I sort of like, it evolved and it grew on me, and I realized like, it is a symbol of freedom, and it is a symbol of just exploring. If I were to have a different job than I had right now, I would be an image consultant. And that worked out very well. So like whatever I studied in uni does work for me right now, because I feel like birds, they change feathers all the time, And to me, I feel like because I have been doing this for more than 18 years almost, and if you don't evolve with time, if you don't adapt, you will be irrelevant. And to me, that's how advertising and what I do right now in the creative work blends together. If I manage to craft myself, I'm not saying that I force myself into something that I don't believe in. I'm not saying that I'm faking it, but for example, if you were to come up with a campaign, you need to know your audience. You need to know what you're selling. You need to know how to speak to people. And that's how I apply it to my music as well, and just myself. This might sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I think the biggest achievement is that I have survived this long in the industry as an independent artist. Of course, some people might say, oh, it's been such a struggle. It's so hard to survive. But to me, it's been, alhamdulillah, like it's been a breeze for me. Again, it goes down to me being able to be myself, me being able to stay in that mentality or be present and not compare myself to what it was before, or not even stressing myself about what I am going to achieve or if I will achieve what I want in the future. It's just being present and being able to just be thankful to be able to survive this long in the industry on my own. I don't have an album. I've been coming out with a lot of singles. I have an EP, which I worked with a record label in Vienna. And that was one of the best experiences of my life, because I was very young at that time. I was 23, 24, and I just packed up. Had a very short notice. I packed up and just left and stayed in Europe for a while. And that's one of my biggest things that I've recorded. But so far it's just singles and collaborations, because that's what my journey is all about. I feel it's just meeting new people, discovering what my abilities are, how far I can go with my voice, what I should do with my voice, and that's how I've been evolving as an artist. I feel when I was abroad, there weren't any judgments as to what I was able to do. But we were talking about 10 years ago, where people were willing to explore. And at that time, when if you wanted to survive and if you wanted to make music your career in Malaysia, you either listen to the gatekeepers or you're not going to survive. Unless you are, of course, an independent artist and you were doing it just out of the love of music and stuff like that, it's fine. At that time, the underground scene was thriving. People were just looking for places where they could listen to alternative music and just be free, But right now, I feel like the artists in Malaysia had realized that they can make a living out of it. So there is that certain mold that the gatekeepers wish that people would follow because they want to play safe. Of course, at the end of the day, they want numbers. they want viewership and stuff like that. But I'm actually very, very proud of the younger generation right now. And we're talking about, when I say younger generation, dulu kalau younger generation, orang tengok 35, 38, 40 years old, and we're talking about 17-year-olds. They're pushing the boundaries. They're just like out there, and it reminded me of what it was back in Europe at that time, because not even the youngsters, a lot of older people, because I feel now there are a lot of youngsters because they are exposed to a lot of things, because you've got the internet, you got social media, you can even produce music with someone outside of your country that you've never met before and just make a collaboration and come up with a giant song, like an amazing song. But that's what it reminds me of right now. They're very experimental in what they do. They don't allow people to tell them what's right and what's wrong, and I think that is a very, very good, it's an amazing shift in the Malaysian music industry, and I am very, very excited to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, got them addicted to the way we got the party rocking. We got them grinding and rolling, licking and lollipopping. They all wanna get a taste, some way, somehow. I'm like a vampire, up all night till the sun come out.
Tonight we get freaky. I'll let you play with me. Bang it hard, real hard. It's a party, right? Let's turn this music up. We going hard. It's a rave, rave. It's a rave, rave.
Yeah, electroshock it like somebody shot a taser. Everybody put your hands up like you calling up a waiter. They wanna get a taste, some way, somehow. I'm like a vampire, up all night till the sun come out.
Tonight we get freaky. I'll let you play with me. Bang it hard, real hard. It's a party, right? Let's turn this music up. We going hard. It's a rave, rave. It's a rave, rave. We bang it hard, real hard. We bang it hard, real hard. We bang it hard, real hard. We bang it hard, real hard.
If you haven't already, please watch my video, which is my first ever Malay single. I've only been doing songs in Sarawakian and English, and this was my first ever Malay single, which I wrote, by the way, which is like amazing because yes, I can converse in Bahasa Malaysia, but this was something that I learned online. At that time, I went on IG Live and I just got my followers to teach me how to speak street Malay, because that's what it is right now with hip hop. You know, you got to speak street Malay. If not, you're going to sound like a poet and just like, oh, angin bayu membawa diriku, which we don't want. So this is a song called Hal with Hulera and Sofia Liana, two of my favorite performers in Malaysia right now.
Lu buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, kalau lu tak kisah lagi tak ada hal.
Kalau tak suka tak payah nak dengar. Kalau tak ikut lu orang boleh belah. Dorang bilang Hulera besar kepala. Bukan sombong gua poyo gaya ku selamba. Tatiana, you know we the baddest. We nak kick your ass out if korang rasa nak act like betina. Muka cantik barang baik but dia tak ada maruah. Jalan-jalan kat luar dah macam tak pakai seluar. Follow me, small than Mariana. You a snitch, dah lari bagaimana? Dah kata busuk hari ni lu tak bertuah. Dalam dua muka bikin gua naik bulu.
Lu buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Kalau lu tak kisah lagi tak ada hal. Muka lu memang hal. Bila kena usah abang-abang semua caw lah. Way I be smoking up that bal. Kucing sampai Paris aku internasional. Bukan Nicky tapi macam Hilton living lavish. Bukan 21 tapi tetap macam savage. I'm Gobi, Mina lain pinggan gangster. Tolong jaga mulut kalau tak nak jadi mangsa. Lama korang tunggu, kini ku kembali. Kalau tak kisah terbakar, mari main dengan api. Kus kau jangan ngaco dah aku. Munsik lah aku mula hal dengan kau. Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Kalau lu tak kisah lagi tak ada hal.
Okay, hidup di naik turun macam lift. Jangan stay static, gerak-gerak macam GIF. Bila panik jangan pula mula gelabah. Take a step back, serta satu-satu lah. Masa senang ramai aja lepak. Masa susah ramai-ramai buat tak nampak. Siapa lagi nak tolong kalau bukan diri. Setiap kali jatuh terus bangun terus lari. Ini urusan peribadi, jadi uruskanlah sendiri. Don't think about anybody, cause it's all about me and my diri.
Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Lu buat hal, lu buat hal. Tak ada hal, lu jangan cari pasal. Wah buat hal, wah buat hal. Kalau lu tak kisah lagi tak ada hal.
I think the takeaway from this entire thing is you really have to know yourself. I know it's not easy for you to sort of listen to your inner voice and be present, but once you know what you want, you will find that anything that you want to achieve or life is actually, I'm not saying it's a bed of roses. There will be times that it's gonna probably hit you in the face, but as long as you can come back to yourself and understand yourself and know what you want, that is just to me the key of enjoying everything that you have.
Well, hello there, life. Come and pick a fight. We're already night. Got you on sight. You better get ready, cause I don't go light. Numb to a venom on it, ready for your bite. See, I'm outdoors, I don't wait now. Full front of baby, you know I'm the loco. I got that swing, baby, and Real Rosa. Talk about the hip break, you know I got that fire. Make a move, 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 get it done.